Now, I don't think a lot of you guys will experience this, but having a maid is not all that it seems to be. Like, most maids just come into your place, clean up, and then just leave the next minute. And sometimes they don't do such a good job. Sometimes they do. I don't know. But I remember one time when I was a kid, I actually had like a full-on maid, but this maid was kind of like really weird champ. And the way the story goes is honestly insane. But before that, obviously, make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And on top of that, click the link in the description down below because I am currently live as we speak. Now, other than that, let's get straight into this crazy video. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place, funny enough, back when I was in middle school. This was my grade 7-year middle school, so, you know, just a basic middle schooler. And I'm not gonna lie, I was not attractive, I was not beautiful, I was not anything special at all. I was just a basic middle schooler. And I remember one time when I was heading on my way home, I remember I got a call from my mom on my iPhone 4. Yes, I had an iPhone 4 in middle school. I was that cool, okay? And I remember when I answered the phone, my mom was like, "Hey, honey, so, we're gonna be having a maid come by the house, when you're home, but me and your father won't be home. We'll be busy and, we'll be doing some work." I was kind of like, "Oh, okay, mom, like, that's cool." Like, I'll just go in my room and play Xbox. And then she told me, "Yeah, just make sure to check on the maid, like, once in a while. We hired a new one because we need a new one for our place." And I told her, "Mom, like, I get it. I know what to do, blah, blah, blah." You know, me acting like the cool kid in middle school. I don't know. As I was hitting puberty, I realized that I really wanted to talk to my parents less and less. But now that I'm a moved out adult, I really want to see them more. I should call my mom later. Anyways, going on though. I remember I ended up going back to my place, and I remember I entered my house and I saw that there was a car parked in our parking lot. It was just a basic Nissan hatchback vehicle, nothing special. And I remember I went inside and I ended up seeing a lady. And this lady was the maid. I walk up to her, I'm like, "Hi, like, I live here. My room's upstairs. You can clean it whenever." And I just went upstairs. I didn't even say hi, nothing. I just said I lived here. And simple as that. I think I was going through like depression that time. I'm not even gonna lie. I was really sad. I don't know what happened. You know what? Maybe it's another story to tell eventually. But going on. I remember I go upstairs to my room and I remember I started playing Xbox. And as I was playing Xbox, I remember I ended up hearing some noises downstairs. First, it was like some clicker clankering. It was like like weird stuff like that. So I thought she was just cleaning. But then I ended up hearing a big crash. A crash that kind of went like and I was terrified. I was like, "What was that?" I ended up standing up, running downstairs, and I went downstairs and I saw it was a broken vase. Apparently the maid ended up, you know, breaking this vase of ours, and I was just confused. I'm like, "Why'd you do that? You literally broke the vase." And the girl looks at me and she's like, "Listen, you were really mean to me when you came in here. Now you don't have to yell at me for doing a silly mistake. Seriously, just stop." I ended up looking at her. I'm like, "Okay, dude, whatever." And I ended up going back upstairs. I ended up texting my mom that the maid broke the vase, but to be honest, she already seemed very upset. So I ended up hearing my maid getting a phone call because I heard her phone ringing, and I bet it was my mother. And then as I was hearing from outside my door, I ended up hearing the maid say, "Oh, your son ended up breaking the vase downstairs. I apologize. I'll clean it up for you guys. He was just a little reckless when he got home." And I opened the door and I'm like, "What? Are you saying I broke the vase?" Instantly, my parents decided that it was probably a good time to come home. So they ended up coming home as the maid was cleaning, and I was just angry in my room about this maid lying about me. And this maid was like very just obnoxious. Like, I don't know why I hate her to like the deepest passion. Like, I never hated anyone more. Anyways, I remember my parents come home and then they came up to my room and my dad's like, "So be honest, did you break the vase and blame it on the maid?" I ended up looking at him like, "No, Dad, I didn't break the vase. It wasn't me. I swear she broke it. I was in my room playing Xbox." And then the maid ends up, you know, talking to my mom, and, you know, she's lying to my mom saying I broke it. And then after that, it just became a whole disaster. They didn't end up firing the maid, but I remember the next day when the maid came back to my house, I remember my parents were gone again, and I remember the worst thing ended up happening. I was in my room playing Xbox, same as usual, playing Black Ops 2. I was in a search and destroy lobby, and I remember the maid comes upstairs to my room and she said, "Listen, I get you're trying to get me fired, but I really do need this job. So honestly, I think we can make it work out." I ended up looking at her. I'm like, "What do you want?" She ends up walking in front of my TV as I'm playing Xbox, and she's like, "Listen, we seriously need to talk. Can you focus?" I end up looking at her. I'm like, "What do you want?" She ends up unbuttoning her shirt, and then I ended up seeing her cherries. Now, at this point, I didn't know what was going on. I remember I looked at her. I'm like, "Okay, whoa, stop. Whoa, I'm in the middle of a game right now." And it was kind of funny because I'm not gonna lie, the people I was playing with can hear everything I was saying, what the maid was saying. And then after that, she ended up showing me her cherries, and she's like, "There, now we're even," and ends up going back downstairs. Reminder, this maid I think was like 22 years old, 26. I didn't think she knew any better, but her thinking I was like a high school hormonal boy, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't that bad of a thing to look at. I remember I ended up going back downstairs, and all I could focus on was her and her cherries when I was just trying to get some food. And then she looks at me and she's like, what, are you trying to look at him again? I looked at her and I'm like, no, I was just, food. She ends up laughing. She's like, you're even stuttering for me. That's unreal. And then goes back to cleaning. I run back upstairs to my room and I ended up talking to my boys on Xbox. And I'm like, boys, the maid is actually hot. All of them start like laughing and freaking out because of what just happened earlier. And then we all just start laughing. Now, funny enough, the story doesn't end there. I remember a week goes by and the maid didn't come over. She only came twice a week. And the next week later on, she came into my house on a Tuesday and she came into my place and she started walking around. She started walking around trying to like, you know, basically clean up what she can. And then she came into my room. She came into my room. She came into my closet and she ended up taking a pair of underwear. Now, reminder, this underwear was clean. This was clean, basic clean underwear. And I remember she ended up putting it on my bed saying, do you ever wear these? I ended up looking at them and I'm like, yeah, that's my underwear. But what do you want with it? She looks at me and she's like, okay. And just grabs them and puts it in her bra and walks away. I look at her and I'm like, did she really just take my underwear? Are you serious right now? I was just so confused. And I remember I'm like, can I have my underwear back? Like, please? She ends up looking at me. She's like, fine, then give me the ones you're wearing right now. I look at her and I'm like, but they're not clean. She's like, oh, like I'll clean them later. Like, it's fine. And me thinking that she just wanted to do her maidly duties or something, I ended up going to my room, taking off my underwear, and taking back my underwear that she had originally. And I went upstairs, put on that pair of underwear, and then I went back downstairs. But when I came back downstairs, she was gone. She wasn't at my place anymore. She was just gone. I don't know where she went, but you know, as I looked around, I realized that my underwear was not even at home anymore. She took my underwear with her home. At this point, I was very confused. And I remember I ended up calling my mom and I'm like, hey mom, the maid stole something from me. My mom started panicking. She's like, oh, like what'd she take? Did she take your Xbox? Did she take your TV? Like what happened? And I told my mom, yeah, mom, she took my underwear. My mom started laughing like crazy and she's like, oh, like we'll find it. It's probably somewhere at home. She left it. It's all fine. And I'm like, no, mom, she took my underwear. My mom had no idea what to say at that point and she was just majorly confused. She was like, okay, I guess. And yeah, long story short, we had no idea what the situation was, especially me. My parents thought I was joking and lying and making a good joke out of the maid ever since the first situation I had with her. And me, I knew there was a deeper secret to my maid, but I had to wait the next 2 weeks to figure out what was gonna happen. But honestly, this video is long enough, and honestly, I think you guys do want to see a part 2 for this. I'm sorry I have to do this to you guys. The video is way too long, and I'm not gonna lie, it gets intense. So if you guys do want the next part of it, click the link in the description down below. Join me live on Twitch and tell me in person, because I am currently live as we speak. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Other than that, peace out, guys.